Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at a 100% XL Keldeo. Of course it's not mine, but here we're gonna have some Battle Centaurs, so thanks for that. We're going to take a look at the Keldeo today here. This is the first time I ever seen anybody use Keldeo in the Master League. Honestly, like I nearly saw every single Pokemon so far, but Keldeo is something that I have not seen ever. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, would really appreciate it. But let's take a look here what Keldeo can do. Keldeo actually has great coverage right now, having access to Hydro Pump, the Poison Jab, which is going to make you a little bit better against those Fairy-type Pokemon, as well as the Sacred Sword, which is a great charge move in general. I think it's a Body Slam clone as a fighting type, which is great against Dialga, for example. So, this Pokemon has some potential. Here we're going to see the knockout against the Gyarados already. They swap out into a Mewtwo, and they try to go for the full farm down, not knowing that a Hydro Pump is coming up here. This is going to connect and going to do massive damage to knock them out, and so this game is over. What a first game here already, showcasing already what the Keldeo can do. Keldeo seems to be the safe swap for this team, which does make sense, because you're going to still be able to punish some Fairy-type Pokemon. This might be the worst Fairy-type Pokemon you can deal with, but maybe they still use a shield here. This would be lovely for you, and they do use a shield, and so you can go for another charge move, maybe get another shield from the opponent as well. You don't, but it's still basically the best result that you could have asked for. I don't know what you want to do now. Do you want to go into the Kyogre? Okay, you want to go into the Kyogre and hope there's something in the back that you can beat. You mostly use a shield here, just in case it's going to be the... Oh, it's Dazzling Gleam. That's not really what I expected. I was more expecting the fighting type move Aura Sphere, but they're going to have a Kyogre themselves in the back here as well, which is not going to be ideal for you. Origin Pulse is going to connect here, going to do some massive damage, as you can see, that they might want to try to catch a move here on the Dialga. This is going to work out beautifully. Origin Pulse again here, going to be resisted. What a nice catch already. In comes the Melmetal again, you're not in range for a superpower yet. So the opponent goes for a Rock Slide, great play there from the opponent as well, as this is going to be the best way they can deal with you. This might be a superpower coming up now, it is, and I don't know if there's a way for you to still win this game here. You can go for a Surf, this is going to do some massive damage, but it's not going to do enough damage, and now you can you have to use a shield here now. Like, there's not really a lot that you can do about it. You can overfarm by at least one, but I doubt that there's enough. Or maybe are 2 Surfs enough? I think 2 Surfs might be enough to knock out the opponent. This is going to come down to the wire here. We're going to see the Surf coming through. It is going to get a shield, and you can still get the next Surf off, knocking them out most likely. I'm not too sure about it. Yes, it does knock them out and win the game. What a game this was. Let's take a look at the next opponent coming up. Again, another Melmetal. Swapping out immediately. Melmetal was actually a Pokemon that I kind of wanted to take a look at as well in the current meta, but I just not really, like, I didn't really get around to do it, so maybe next time the Master League is around. This is not the same battle, by the way. As you can see as well, that they only go for a Hydro Pump, but it's funny to see the exact same team back to back. But you're going to be able to realign yourself, and this is ginormous, because now you can go ahead and go into your Dialga against the Garchomp, which is still not ideal, but way better than against the Melmetal, and you can do a ton of damage with your fast move. You might be forced to use 2 shields here though, because an Earth Power would do super effective damage, and most likely, maybe I think the first one would have actually not knocked you out, but like it would have got you kind of low. So the ideal play here is actually to just stay in, because the opponent is forced to debuff themselves here in order to do damage against you, and they do exactly this, and so you can swap out now. This was a very clever play, because basically the opponent's Melmetal always has to go for the superpower in order to knock out the Dialga there, and so this was a very, very smart. We see the full farm down, and 2 Surfs would be enough to easily knock out the Garchomp, so this is looking really great for you as the opponent. Gonna go for a charge move. You can use a shield if you want to. You decide to not use a shield here, Earth Power is going to knock you out, but you can farm them down with the Dragon Breath, and we can move on to the next opponent. Dialga versus Dialga is most likely the best matchup that you can really go for. You also have higher CP, so you might be able to hit the next move in time. Yeah, you can go just for the Raw of Time. Let's see if the opponent is going to let this move go through or not. They decided to let this move go through, and this is going to be it for this battle already. Goodbye there. Next opponent, we're going to see a lead that you don't really like to see, but you can try to swap out maybe on the charge move. Yeah, you try to swap out to the charge move, because actually this matchup, even though you're water type, is pretty bad for you because you just don't get a very fast 2-1 water move. But the opponent decides to swap out anyway. And this is going to be lovely because now you can at least get some damage onto them. You get rid of the Lugia for your Kyogre laydown, which is still a neutral matchup, but it's not like a perfect matchup for them, or like for you. And you can still at least get some damage onto them and maybe even force a shield with this next charge move coming through. It actually forces a shield. This is wild. So Keldeo is putting in some work here today. You can let the move go through for sure because it's going to be a resisted Arrow Blast. And you can get some energy here right now, which is going to be great. But no, you cannot. The opponent got the attack boost, and this is going to change quite a lot. So you're forced to go for the Iron Head. They're going to swap out now into the Landorus. They're most likely going to drop your attack first here, so you might want to let this move go through. It's going to be the Sancia Storm. Let's see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Xerneas. So a very smart play to let the move go through, because now the opponent is just going to do more damage with something like a Moonblast here than with a Sancia Storm. You're gonna go straight for the Origin Pulse, not messing around. This is going to connect and do a ton of damage against them, but they can still reach another charge move. So you're gonna be forced to go for another shield. It's going to be the close combat. We can still get to up to a Surf, but you're gonna go for the better play here to just go for the full farm down, as the opponent should not be able to store up enough energy to knock out both of your Pokemon, and that's it. Let's move on to the next opponent. A Shadow Tyranitar is awaiting us for the next game as they swap out into a Groudon. Couldn't really be better for the Kyogre. This is a lovely matchup. Fun fact, the Shadow variant of Groudon actually can flip this matchup in, I think, the one-shot scenarios, which is kind of mad, but not the normal one. You can always win this matchup, but you decide to use a shield here, which does make sense because we know already Tyranitar is lurking there as well, and Tyranitar is going to be weak against the water type moves. Using two shields is very risky because if they have something in the back that they can align now, that might be a little bit tricky, but no, they're going to be triple weak against Kyogre apparently. You have to be a little bit careful now because they got to the Brutal Swing in time here as well, so they're most likely going to try to use a shield here, go for the Brutal Swing, try to knock your Kyogre out, but I don't think this is going to be enough. I think you barely survive. Exactly, you just know those spreads here as well, as this is going to knock them out. We're going to see the final Pokemon being a Pokemon weak to Kyogre, but it's still going to be a tricky one for you to pull off because you might have to catch a move here. Can you catch an Earthquake? You cannot. You tried your best, but you were one turn too late. This is going to connect and going to knock you out, but can Keldeo still win this game? I think you might be able to survive one charge move from the opponent, but in comes here now the Sacred Sword, being a Body Slam Clown, doing a ton of damage, not enough. In comes the next Earthquake. Is it going to knock you out? It's going to be so close, it is going to connect, and it's not going to be enough, and you can Poison Jab them down. Next one coming through, we're going to have the Ho-Oh in the lead here. It's going to be a purified version of the Ho-Oh, looking kind of nice. For Ho-Oh, definitely the normal variant, like just purified or normal, is going to be better than the Shadow variant. I'm speaking out like my own experience because I have a Shadow variant of the Ho-Oh and it's pretty garbage, I have to say. So yeah, definitely always go for the normal variant on this Pokemon. Raw of Time, gonna get shielded by the opponent. You can actually swap out eventually, and this is a clever one because it's nowhere near to, like, they don't go for a Brave Bird here, exactly. And so you're gonna get the attack drop, which is unfortunate because otherwise a Sacred Sword would be lovely here. A Sacred Sword still gonna do around like most of the 40%, I would imagine, but it would have most likely two-shot them. But let's see how much damage it's actually going to do because you're gonna connect the next one. I would guess around 40% after the debuff, and I am correct with that. So you will see most likely swap back into your own Dialga, trying to force some energy from the opponent. Never mind, you're gonna go to your Kyogre. Not too sure if this is going to be the ideal play, but they're gonna go for a Raw of Time, which you can shield up. So you're gonna try to go for a Surf most likely. You don't get to the Origin Pulse. This is going to be a very likely the Raw of Time. No, it's actually only the Iron Head, and so maybe you still actually have a play now. Let's see. Surf is coming through. This is going to be able to do some decent damage here, hopefully. It does, and let's see what's coming in the... Oh, again, it's going to be the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is going down there. Seemingly very weak to the Kyogre. What do they have in the back here? It is going to be that Landorus, and you can still reach the Raw of Time in time, which is lovely, as it's going to one-shot the opponent, and we can move on to the next one. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have here a Dialga against Dialga Mirror, but you're going to have the worst variant in this kind of occasion because the opponent is going to win the CMP tie here. They have a little bit more attack than you. But still, it is going to be a fairly decent matchup for you. You're gonna go straight for the Roar of Time. Trying to force a knockout here, which does not work out as the opponent uses a shield as well. You decide to swap out, and you're gonna get completely hardwalled. We can say goodbye to that Keldeo, as a shield doesn't make sense against a Side Strike Mewtwo. And I feel like this is going to be a loss. But that's just a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, who knows. It's going to be a Side Strike which you can still survive. You can go for the... Okay, you actually can still go for the Roar of Time. I was a little bit curious there if you can actually reach this move. You can, and you're gonna get a shield from the opponent as they go for the full farm down. But this is actually better for you, because now you actually have a chance now. Yes, you can knock them out with just a one fast move of the Kyogre, so all the energy that they stored up is not going to really work for them. But I feel like the Dialga still gets to move here. I don't think the serve is going to put them into a range where they don't get to move, so I feel like this is going to be a KO. Yeah, no way. This is going to be enough to knock you out. It's going to be a Draco Meteor. And so we can move on to the next opponent. Better lead for you. Kyogre is going to be always better. And in comes a Melmetal. Super effective damage from the opponent while you do double resisted damage. But still, of course, your charge move is going to be way better against them, as superpower has to come through, and you wait, of course, until they throw their first, because now their defense is dropped. And now maybe one Sacred Sword would have been enough to knock them out. You can actually let this move go through, because now their attack is also dropped, and so it does way less damage. And so you can overfarm by a little bit, go for a perfect CMP tie. This would knock them out guaranteed here, or it doesn't. I thought Sacred Sword would do a little bit more. So maybe when this Pokemon gets Secret Sword, which is like a signature move, it might be a little bit better. But as we can see here, in comes a Kyogre, and this is very silly by the opponent, because now they're switched locked in a Kyogre against a Dialga, and that is not great, and this is not a Blizzard, so you can definitely let this move go through. Very likely just a serve. I even thought it was like an Origin Pulse, but no. Iron Head coming through, going to knock them out, but honestly I'm not too sure if this was needed. I think you could have just farmed them down, and this would have helped you as well, because you would have some Iron Heads now for the opponent's Togekiss. But it's still going to be a very decent play for you. As we're gonna see here, they can farm you all the way down. You don't get to another move, but still your Kyogre is going to have a great time. You're waiting out the clock. Maybe you're gonna try to catch a move onto your Keldeo. Let's see here if you're gonna try to catch. You don't. But as you can see here, shield coming up. It's going to be the Ancient Power. Do they get the boost? They do not, and so a Surf already kind of knocked them out, but it's even better if you can go for an Origin Pulse. Say goodbye to the opponent's Togekiss. It's getting completely obliterated, and we can move on to the next opponent. Mewtwo. The Mewtwo best buddied here from the opponent. Let's see if they also have the boost active. I have no idea, because this is not a fully XL variant apparently. It's 4400 CP is not really that high for a Mewtwo. In comes Iron Head, going to do a ton of damage, and this is going to maybe be a Focus Blast. It is a Side Strike, but you can just go for the full farm down, and you're going to have switch advantage here as well, basically, with that. And you should kind of use that as well, and maybe swap out into your Keldeo, I would say, as I feel like Keldeo is kind of your better safe up there as well. And yes, you decide to go for this Pokemon, which is kind of great. You can still easily take a Precious Blade here from the opponent. This is not going to knock you out. It does around like 70%. Oh, actually, well, a little bit more there, with like around 80% there of your health, as this is going to get the shield from them, and they swap out into a Dialga. What a misplay by the opponent, because now what you can do is you can just stay in here, use a shield now because you kind of have to, go for a Roar of Time. Oh, it's just an Iron Head. True, you don't really have to. You can actually still survive it. What a play this was as well. Like, kind of an overkill, because you didn't really have to do this, but it is still going to be fine, because look at this. There's going to be a ground against Kyogre, so we can say goodbye to the opponent and move on to the next one. Another Mewtwo in the lead, another not fully XL variant, as we can see here, 4300 CP. There are at least, like, I don't know, like, it's most likely level 43, level 44 Mewtwo. This is the thing, a lot of people just don't have the Pokemon to battle in this league, and I know a lot of people still kind of want to try to use their favorite Pokemon in this league, and so it is kind of unfortunate. I really wish, honestly, that rare XL candies would be way more common. Kind of like maybe half as common as something like a normal candy, like rare candy, basically, because I feel like it still would take a long time to get all the resources to get those legendaries up. And if you think about the mythicals, if you want to build them, like the Keldeo here, it's just gonna take a while, like a while. What the hell? They are running Thunderbolt on their Melmetal. I don't know why they do this. I don't know. Like, honestly, I just don't really know why. But it is what it is. We're gonna see the double Iron Bash as well. They're just going to go for the completely different moveset that you would usually run. It is really sad, in my opinion, that double Iron Bash is so bad on the Melmetal. Like, nobody would ever want to use it. It's basically a reverse cross chop. It's a signature move, man. Like, make it great. Like, make it really usable. That would be great for us. But no, it is a very trash move. Thunderbolt, it does a little bit more damage, but as you can see here, they're going to have a Kyogre in the back. That's going to be a little bit of a trickier one, but Origin Pulse does around half. But can you win this with the Dialga? Okay, I forgot that you have a move start. Yes, you can win this with the Dialga. And so we can move on to the final battle of today. Final one coming up, Shadow Mewtwo. That's kind of wild. Shadow Shiny Mewtwo. In comes a Dialga. Those were also for the XL now. Those are all level 50 Pokemon. This is going to be okay for you. You can let this move go through. It is going to be guaranteed the Iron Head, as you can now go for the swap into the Keldeo. I actually do like this play quite a bit, because you know that this is going to knock them out, and you can now basically still have the energy against the Mewtwo, and you're just going to go for the Sacred Sword as well here. This is a very smart play by this player. Definitely agree with what you're doing here. And you're going to get even the shield. That is a madness. They're forced to still go for a charge move against you. You got them low enough that an Iron Head would kind of knock them out. I don't think it does quite enough damage, but it would put them into Dragon Breath range for sure. So in comes the Kyogre actually. I don't really agree with this play, but let's see if there is somewhat of a play for you with that. You can go for the full farmland, I guess, if you use a shield here, which is definitely needed. Like, Shadow Mewtwo is so much worse than the normal Mewtwo in my opinion, but oh, that was not really the ideal play. This was kind of what I was worried about as well, but I guess, like, what can you really do about it as well here? But can you still reach it? Nah, you cannot reach it raw of time, so I feel like this game is most likely over at this point. Iron Head is gonna not put them... Oh, is it? Isn't it? Nah, okay. That's going to be... Oh, but you still survive this. Like, I'm still like kind of so torn in between. I think you still have a chance here. This should do enough, even though it's double resisted. Origin Pulse hits hard. So can you still win this game? You can knock them out. And yes, you can actually still win this game. What a clutch. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.